Good afternoon, everyone. It's so nice to see you today. We are continuing to explore the best uses for our Zoom services. So we're not going to be using a feature called the Spotlight feature today, so you can control your own view. If you want to see just the current speaker big on your screen, go to the upper right and click Speaker View, and you'll get that speaker big. If you like to see lots of people, which I like to do, go to the upper right and click Gallery View, and you'll get that Hollywood Squares grid that, it looks like that Hollywood Squares grid that Deborah was talking about. And if you're watching on a phone, swipe left or right to switch between speakers and Gallery View. What Speaker View does is the person who's talking ends up being bigger on your screen. And if you're in Gallery View, this person who's talking should be a little square, a little highlighted square as well. We'll start by singing our bowl this morning. Welcome again to the Boulder Valley Unitarian Universalist Fellowship Zoom service. We are glad you found us. I'm Reverend Lydia Ferrante Roseberry. I'm the minister of this congregation, and I'm joined today by Service Associate Pete Wernick, Tad Koryeth, and Emily Jaworski providing music, and our vital tech ushers. Today we have Deborah Mensch, Don Price, Eric Williams, and Mary Stagpole. As I said in the welcome words just a moment ago, I invite you to shift to gallery mode now if you haven't already done so, and try out scrolling through the screens as I read our welcome words, so you can really see the lovely diversity of those who are among us today. You are all welcome here today. In all the beauty of languages, cultures, skin tones, shapes, and sizes that come together in your uniqueness, you are welcome here. In all the ways that you experience or express gender, you are welcome here. In all the ways you make your living, in all the places you are from, you are welcome here. Muslim, pagan, humanist, Jew, Buddhist, mystic, Christian, Unitarian, Universalist, with all the traditions that inform your spiritual life, you are welcome here today. And whether you are a first-time visitor today or a long-time member, you are welcome here. You are welcome here with laughter in your heart or with tears. You are invited to join us with an open mind, a loving heart, and willing hands. We welcome you today. Today we'll be finishing up our theme of the 5 jagged rocks of Unitarian Universalism, and here's Pete to review them with you.
There. As a reminder, the jagged rocks are a recent new version of UU theology developed by local ministers Reverend Mike Moran and Reverend Nancy Bowen. We chose these as a presentation for this month so we could focus on what supports us as Unitarian Universalists at this time. Unity. There is a unity which makes us whole. Love. Courageous love transforms the world. Hope. Salvation in this life. Worth. All souls are sacred and worthy. Truth, and that's our subject for today. Truth continues to be revealed.
try this again. Now, yay! I'm really happy to share this service time this morning with Penny Rather, who will be sharing about this fifth jagged rock, Truth Continues to be Revealed. But I have to say it's a bittersweet Sunday for me, as Penny is moving to Tennessee in May, and she's been a close colleague, a confidant, and even more important, a friend to me since I arrived here in 2007. She was one of the first ministers to greet me when I was even a candidate and not settled here in the congregation. So as we welcome her into this virtual pulpit, we'll also later in the service be saying goodbye to her as a member of this congregation, a former affiliated minister, a supervisor of our interns, and the current co-coordinator of the Lay Pastoral Care Associates. I do wish to welcome any visitors and newcomers today. We are glad you found us, and we hope that even in this virtual community, you can experience the warmth and love of this congregation. Each Sunday is different here, so please come back a few times to really get to know us. If you are new and want to stay connected, please see the chat window right now for a link to our first-time visitors page. Or you can email your information to Carol, our office manager, at, surprisingly enough, officemanager@bvuuf.org. Her email address is also in the chat window. If this is one of your first visits and you would like to briefly introduce yourself, I invite you to use the raised hand control in the participants window to show us you would like to speak. Don Price, one of our tech ushers, will call on you, and he'll unmute your microphone. You can tell us your name and where you are currently right now, so we can better get to know you. And of course, this self-introduction is completely optional, but we do like to know who is among us and new each Sunday.
Lydia, it looks like we don't have anybody new here today.
Okay, thank you, Don. No new people who want to introduce themselves this week. It is good to be together wherever you are. And now if you have a chalice at home, I invite you to light it with me. And so we know where all of our chalices are, you can write also today, right in the chat window, chalice lit in, and then the name of your town. So you might write chalice lit in Longmont or chalice lit in Lafayette, and we'll see where all these chalices are burning bright this morning. Please join me in our chalice lighting words. Need the rest of my matches. Try this one. We light this chalice for the warmth of love, the light of truth, and the energy of action. I invite you now to center yourselves with the second ringing of the bowl. And now Tad and Emily will sing cornerstones for us. We'll hear all the verses this morning as we look back at each of the jagged rocks we've explored these past weeks.
Sanctify our lives.
Oh, Tad and Emily, that is so beautiful. And Tad, having written this song, one verse every week for our Jagged Stones, let's just all show our love. Show our love to Tad and Emily. And those of you who might have been at the talent show last night also got to see Tad in action. So thank you so much. I did get a chat message that we may have missed someone in the welcome. So I do want to welcome, I think it was Sandra B. Berman or B, and hope that you will stay for virtual coffee hour so you can get to know us a little better. So when I first started my ministry here, I didn't wear glasses. But over time, I found that my fonts were getting larger and larger and larger. So you may remember that transition about 4 or 5 years ago when all of a sudden I was wearing glasses in the pulpit. So now these glasses help me see better. But if I take them off, y'all are blurry all over again, especially in your tiny boxes. Ah, there you are. You look so beautiful. Now, if I put my husband's glasses on, you're all blurry again. Oh my goodness. So this is a little bit of what it feels like, what finding truth is like. What we need to see the world or to understand the world with all of our senses, not just our eyes, of course, changes over the course of our life. Learning truths is like that, taking on or off glasses or gaining a new insight so that new truths can be revealed our whole life long. And everybody needs different kinds of tools. Everybody has different ways that they take truth in. And that's what we're going to talk about today, the different ways new truths are revealed in our lives.
Talking with a friend recently, one who affiliates with the religious right, my explanation of my support for marriage equity was met with the resounding objection that the Bible says that is an abomination. Well, I didn't pursue the issue any further, realizing that that would be fruitless. But in that instant, I took comfort in the fifth jagged rock of Unitarian Universalism, that truth continues to be revealed. Whether or not the Bible really did mean what she thought it meant, it is not the last word, nor is the Quran, nor the Lotus Sutra, the Analects of Confucius, nor the Tao Te Ching. Nor is anything said here today the final word, because truth continues to be revealed. And to be fair, while this assertion is critical to Unitarian Universalism, it is not unique to us. It is also foundational for many Buddhists, Jews, Mormons, other Christians, and in other traditions as well. But how? How do new truths emerge? Do we have prophets like Abraham, Moses, and Isaiah among us, as there were in the time of the Hebrew Scriptures? Are esoteric texts awaiting discovery hidden in rocks, as were the terma of the Vajrayana Buddhist tradition? Perhaps. We may not know for many, many years. But there is another way that truth is revealed, through experience. Maybe especially through experience. I think that is why direct experience is listed first among our sources of living tradition. Because even when looking to sacred texts or prophetic voices for truth, we filter everything through our lived experience. And right now, in this extraordinary time of global pandemic, we daily encounter truths. Some new, and some that reinforce the way that we already looked at the world. And even as we are sharing this worldwide experience, we each have personal experiences where we also encounter truth. we should not lose track of our individuality. Let me share with you some of the truths I've learned and I have seen in this crisis. When I shop and find the shelves bare of what I want, at first I'm frustrated, but then I am grateful for my privilege, and I feel empathy for those for whom that is a regular reality. I have learned that people cope in different ways, and I should not judge when someone else's style conflicts with mine. They are experiencing the world through different glasses or to the beat of a different drum. I have learned that when we cope by binge watching Netflix or finally reading all those books that we've been meaning to read or downloading music to fall asleep to, we should remember that in this dark time, we turned to the artists, and that the people who are our saviors are not the rich and powerful, but grocery clerks, healthcare workers, truck drivers, and first responders. Now, those last two truths are from Facebook. And since I can't find the originals that I thought I had saved in order to give proper credit, I have also learned that I'm not very good at Facebook. What are some of the things that you have learned? And because even as we share this experience, we each have individual experiences, I'd like to share some of the things I'm learning or hoping to learn from my personal experience. Next month, I will be moving to a small, agriculturally based community near Nashville, Tennessee, to be near our daughter and her family. And I am learning to adjust my preconceptions of the South and coming to terms with my own family heritage of privilege in Virginia and Tennessee. I have met wonderful people there, and I am learning to value people whose political and religious worldviews are very different from mine. I hope to learn from them. What are some of the truths that you have learned from your unique life experience?
One of the highest values of this congregation, which we might even call one of our other truths, is generosity. We believe that cultivating generosity in our lives makes us more content and the world a better place. So it's our practice to donate half of our plate each week to a nonprofit organization that reflects our values in the world. This week, we are sharing our offerings with the Boulder Community Health Foundation COVID-19 Response Fund. Their priorities for this fund include launching an employee assistance fund to help staff with unanticipated financial challenges, augmenting personal protective equipment to protect staff, augmented testing, expanding their reach through telehealth, and expanding critical access beds at the hospital, cross-training physicians and nurses that may be needed as patient load increases. As we listen to the music and you make your donation, we invite you to enter into the chat window some new truth or changed belief that your life experience has taught you. Also, it would be fine to just mention something to the effect of what you've learned during this crisis. There's lots to learn, and a lot of truths are unfolding before our eyes, and we're struggling to keep up. So I was asked to give an example verbally here while you're thinking of what to write in the chat. So here's a little story. Going back about 25 years when my family had a week's vacation in Hawaii, the very first time we were going there together, I was excited, and I made a point to check out lots of tourist information. And I made a list of all the must-see attractions. Every brochure, of course, that attraction is must see, as you know, in their in their description. So in the first few days, I started realizing I was too beholden to that list I was making. I was wound up trying to fit it all in. Not a very good attitude for a family vacation. Thank goodness I soon had an epiphany, and that was nothing is absolutely must see. As soon as I realized that, I relaxed. I tossed most of the list, and we had a nice vacation. And the lasting value is that I no longer consider anything must see or must do. It takes the pressure off. Now you can hopefully add your own stories of new truths you learned, either some other time in life or maybe just in the during this crisis we're all going through. So please do that.
On behalf of the Boulder County Health Foundation, which is doing so much to help the COVID-19 crisis here, and on behalf of the fellowship, I am grateful for these offerings and the continued generosity that we have shown this community.
And now we sing. From you I receive, to you I give. Together we share, and from this we live.
On CBS Sunday Morning a couple of weeks ago, 3 people were interviewed about what makes a good leader. I was especially impressed by a claim made by Father Joseph McShane, the Jesuit president of Fordham University. The minute you think you have nothing to learn, he said, you're lost. We can learn new truths from books and movies, teachers and friends, and from experience. But it is not inevitable that we do. A person can go years without ever learning anything new or thinking that they need to. And they are lost because truth continues to be revealed when we are open to receiving it. One way to let yourself be open to new truths is to explore unfamiliar worlds. Take in the artistry of people whose experience is different from yours. Read fiction and nonfiction, scholarly articles and poetry by authors whose race, culture, religion, or politics is different from yours. Go to movies, art shows, and other events produced by people you don't usually encounter. You might just learn something and be a little less lost. And finally, one more way to open ourselves to new truths as they are revealed is to learn to tolerate discomfort. As UUs, we aspire to tolerance of and even appreciation for religious diversity. We would do well to expand that outlook to discomfort. Because truth is not always easy to encounter. It is sometimes downright uncomfortable. I have felt that discomfort as I anticipate moving to Tennessee and coming up against my family history of owning slaves. I want to learn from this experience. And if I want to learn, I need to tolerate the discomfort that brings me. One way I know of to strengthen that tolerance is through meditation. When you practice sitting over and over again through physical, spiritual, and emotional pain, without dwelling on it or pushing it away, tolerating discomfort can become a habit. It can help you be open to new truths, even when they are difficult. I'm sure there are other ways. You probably know of them. I invite you to practice tolerating and even appreciating discomfort so that you are ready to receive truth as it continues to be revealed. May it be so. And now I invite you to join with the recorded performance of Spirit of Life, which will be presented first in Spanish and then in English.
Wasn't that just beautiful? And now I invite us into our time of community connection, our time of sacred sharing. Deborah will remind you of how to let us know if you have a joy or a concern to share. And when you do, whether it's by voice or by chat, please let us know your name and where you live, and then briefly let us know what is in your heart today. And then I will put a stone in our sacred waters here for you on your behalf. I will add one last stone for all of those joys and concerns which remain in the silent sanctuary of our hearts, knowing that even in our silence, we are bound together by the web of life. Today, I share with you an excerpt from Capuchin Franciscan brother Richard Hendrick's poem called Lockdown, as a prayer. Beloveds, they say that in the streets of Assisi, people are singing to each other across the empty squares. And we know here in Colorado, people are howling at 8 p.m. In Assisi, they are keeping their windows open so that those who are alone may hear the sounds of family around them. All over the world, people are waking up to a new reality. May that be our truth as well. This new reality of how big we really are, to how little control we really have, to what really matters, to love. And so we pray and we remember that yes, there is fear, but there does not have to be hate. Yes, there is isolation, but there does not have to be loneliness. Yes, there is panic buying, but there does not have to be meanness. Yes, there is sickness, but there does not have to be disease of the soul. And yes, there is even death, but there can always be a rebirth of love. Let us wake to the choices we make as to how we want to live now. Today, breathe. Listen. Behind the factory noises of your panic, the birds are singing again. The sky is clearing. The spring is coming, and we are always encompassed by love. Open the windows of your soul, and though you may not be able to touch across the empty square, sing nonetheless. Wherever you are on this journey, whether you are feeling it, whatever you are feeling in this moment, or yesterday, or 10 minutes from now, do rest in the truth that this will pass. And as you have the capacity, reach out to those you have heard who are in need, who are grieving, or in need of healing, or a virtual hug. And call out, as you have been when it is you who feels isolated or alone. Let us be there for each other in celebration and in solace. May this be our promise and our prayer. And Penny, now it comes time to say goodbye to you. So I've asked your very first Unitarian Universalist minister here at the congregation, the Reverend Catherine Harris, to say a few words.
Catherine, I'm sorry, but you're muted. Can you press your unmute button?
Okay. And if Penny's picture could come up, that would help. Penny, when you told me you were moving to Tennessee, I was shocked. It never entered my mind that you would not always be a part of our congregation. You have been a member of the fellowship probably since the 1980s, when Nan Hobart was your minister. I know how much the women's group meant to you and your religious journey. You were a member of the search committee that called me as minister. And then you were the second board chair during my ministry. Our congregation recognized and benefited from your leadership skills. You are the first member of our fellowship to enter the ministry. We are proud of you. These words by Rumi came across my desk this week, so to speak. Quote, "You have escaped the cage. Your wings are stretched out." Penny, you have stretched your wings. You not only answer your call to ministry, but in a very creative way. You were the first Unitarian Universalist student to graduate with a Master's of Divinity from Naropa University. Later, you earned your doctorate in preaching from Iliff School of Theology, a seminary in Denver. You continued putting miles on your car by accepting a part-time ministry in Laramie, Wyoming. How long did you serve them driving up and down highways 287 and 52? Penny, what impresses me about you is your integrity, your strong intellectual skills, the creativity in earning your Master's of Divinity, and your perseverance in following your call. We will miss you. And consider this a virtual hug.
Thank you so much for your kind words, Catherine. I leave this congregation with loving memories and gratitude in my heart. This is where I discovered Unitarian Universalism 30 years ago, where I became interested in Buddhism and healed my anger at the religion of my youth, where I discovered my call to ministry. This is the beloved community that supported me in my personal and professional formation. For these things and so much more,
Thank you is my practice. practice.
Penny, your legacy to this congregation is so great. You have been an outstanding leader, both organizationally and now pastorally, leading our lay pastoral care associates. You've supervised interns, and honestly, you've been a minister to me on many occasions, as well as a dear, dear friend. And I know you've been a friend to so many people here in this congregation, and a minister to them. For these things and for so much more,
Thank you for your loving hands, your loving heart, your loving ways. Thank you for the gifts you bring into the world each day. And if you ever doubt yourself, remember us who love you
thank you. And Penny, we have to thank you for everything you've brought us. We have asked Lois Jones to make you a chalice that you can put in your window in your house in Tennessee. So we don't have that yet. I will be mailing it to your new home as a gift and as a reminder that this fellowship loves you deeply and that you have offered us so much these many, many years. And now I invite you to join me in extinguishing our chalice. We extinguish this chalice, but not the warmth of love, the light of truth, nor the energy of action. These we carry in our hearts until we meet again. I close today with our words of UU colleague, Reverend Wayne Arneson. Take courage, friends. The way is often hard, the path is never clear, and the stakes are very high. Take courage, for deep down there is another truth. You are not alone. Blessed be. Amen.